All right, and welcome to the iGaming experience. I'm Sam Bhatti. I'm here in the Zebra Studios in beautiful Podgorica, Montenegro. We're here for episode 3, and very lucky to have our very first guest ever on the pod, so you should feel honored. I picked one of the heavy hitters from the industry, Artyom Matavosyan from EveryMatrix / PartnerMatrix. In fact, maybe we can break down a little bit of the differences between those things as we get into it. But just to give you all an intro into how I know Artyom, I'd mentioned on a previous episode that attending summits is a key part of being in this industry and getting your name out there and getting to meet the right people. And when you go to these summits, it only takes 2 or 3 before there's a handful of people that sort of stand out as like people to know. And Artyom is a person to know in this industry. And when you show up at these summits, it feels like you've got a friend there, or at least myself and my other crew that's connected with Artyom. We always look to you, man, to be like, all right, what's going on? What's the scene like? Any type of information, any hookup that I need, he's always there for me. We always try to have his back. And a good example of that is you being our first guest now. So welcome, brother.
Thank you very much, Sammy. It's definitely an honor. Hi, everyone. I'm Artyom Matavosyan from EveryMatrix / PartnerMatrix. I'll get to the difference in a second. Mm-hmm. Hello from a very, very sunny Malta. Basically the difference is that EveryMatrix does the whole turnkey solution for operators. PartnerMatrix is just the affiliate part of it: affiliate software, affiliate intelligence, and also agent system for those nasty ones that are going for gray and not so much cleaner markets. Sammy, since you brought up the way we actually got to know each other, I don't know if you would want this to make it to the final version of the podcast, but I'd like to have my 2 cents on the networking thing in conferences, because a lot of times we see in the conferences that people just show up and they stand in the events, even if it's like a party, they just pull the drink and stand there without actually networking and communicating with everyone, which is like a big no-no. Like if you're new to the conference, or if you're not that new, just talk to anyone who can, everyone you can. Just enjoy it, like talk, communicate. That's what this is about, because you may meet like 10 people that are not going to be necessary for your business purposes right now, but give it a year, give it a couple other months, and here we are. I'm the first guest of your podcast.
Yeah, dude, listen, I think that's great advice. Like 100% agree. And like any nuggets like that you've got, like I want to learn it too, but like, feel free to share it with the audience as well, so that we all get an idea.
Don't take nuggets from him, then. What up, buddy?
Surprise.
Hey, buddy.
Is that Malta?
Yes. This is my apartment's balcony.
That's nice. Looks nice.
Sunny, warm.
Yeah.
Your office looks great as well. I love the layout and all.
Yeah, thanks, man. I would give you a virtual tour now, but I'm going to save that because you've been invited here several times, so we want you to come and check it out and roll with us, man.
I will do that. I will definitely do that, man.
Dude, we'll roll out the red carpet, man. 100%.
All right.
So you mentioned something there about inviting us out to Armenia. So this might actually be a good moment to sort of mention to people why Armenia, right? Like I'm sure a lot of people listening are maybe not aware of what a hub Armenia is for iGaming. Maybe you could talk about that for a couple of minutes.
Sure. The word speaks for themselves, I think. The capital, Yerevan, has about 1 million people, and 10,000 out of this million are in one way, sort or shape or form related to iGaming. So that says it all. There's a lot of iGaming companies, a lot of people to meet there. And not many people know this, but Yerevan is actually much safer than any other European small city. I'm not talking about big ones, because big ones aren't safe anymore anyway, but Yerevan is extremely safe wherever you want to go, whichever time you want to go in. Price-wise, it's quite makes sense. Everything. Places to see in Armenia are a bunch, and I personally am happy to give anyone who wants to explore Armenia top 10 places to visit, top 10 things to do within any budget. Oh, and one thing that I think is fascinating about Armenia is whichever restaurant you enter in, there's going to be some decent food. Not great, but decent enough. So great is you have 60-70% of chances to land in a great restaurant, and you have 100% chance to get into a decent restaurant, whichever your liking is. So that's something that you don't really see that much in any major European cities, because you really have to be picking carefully. And even if you do so, like, you can rely on Google reviews, but even if you get into a 4.5 star restaurant, it's not guaranteed that the food's going to be good. But in Armenia, it is. So, okay, I tilted this towards iGaming, but as for iGaming, there's multiple shows in the year that you could look into attending. There's multiple shows that bigger names like BetConstruct and Digitain and other companies are organizing that are definitely worth attending, just because of how many relevant people there are in whatever you do. There's a relevant audience for you in Armenia in those events that are organized.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, I can vouch for it. I got to go there a couple of years back, spent about 3-4 days in Armenia and got a nice tour. And like, it was certainly eye-opening for me in like, not just the number of iGaming companies out there, but the scale of some of them as well. There's big glass buildings and big developments going on out there. And it seems like the industry is proper growing in that area.
And it's even bigger now. It's growing much faster than expected. Now, a lot of companies from Asia, from even Europe, they consider opening an office in Armenia, just because it's easy to find experienced people. It's easy to find knowledgeable people there, reasonably priced, and people who do their work, regardless of if they're in the office or they work from home. But I mean, having an office in Armenia is not much of an investment, so it makes sense to just the way EveryMatrix did, actually. They started with like 10-15 people, a small office that looked something like an apartment or not a big house. And then now we have a luxurious office in a very good business area. That's how it all started. Like, you just start from somewhere, you just build an office, and then the word gets around. And the more the word gets around, the more interested iGaming personnel you have.
And so how did they get you then? How did Artyom show up at EveryMatrix?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. So by the time I was doing business development for a startup that was selling basically SMS marketing, I was doing SMS marketing where you could just log in and then send SMS campaigns to whatever kind of business you were running. I don't know why I ended up in an iGaming conference. Actually, I do. Prior to working with this SMS thing, I used to work for Ajarabet, one of the local giants in Armenia, for 2 years. And then because I had this experience, my boss decided, I should go to a conference related to iGaming and try to merge our product in and convince operators to do SMS campaigns. But funny enough, there was no operator there. And then I just found another Armenian, Levon Matavosyan, the founder and CEO of Papa. I found him, we chatted, and then I guess something in me he liked, and he offered me a job. And by the time I was didn't really like the industry that I was in, I was like, okay, I'll just hop back in iGaming. And that's how I ended up in EveryMatrix.
That's interesting. Have you tracked how that SMS business went? Because it's, kind of ironic that the boss sent you out there and, you found a whole new industry.
Actually, the company decided the startup was part of a bigger company. The bigger company is still doing great, which I'm really happy about, and I have a lot of friends that are still working at that company. But the smaller project actually was shut down.
Okay, all right. Well, EveryMatrix is win then, I guess, right? And so maybe like
depends who you ask.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. See, so for me, in my experience, I've been fortunate enough to be able to look at a lot of different platforms and get demos and see how it all comes together. And for me, I would say I can't think of one that I saw that was more impressive than the EveryMatrix back office. And what makes me say that, or what made it sort of stand out, is it was amazing how deep every different section was of the back office. So much so that it was kind of seemed like its own business into itself. And my understanding is, I think at EveryMatrix you do kind of treat it that way. Am I right?
Me personally, or the product?
No, the company itself. So like,
Correct.
you've got EveryMatrix, and then you've got like, PartnerMatrix within it. Is that considered its own company, or is that just a branch of EveryMatrix?
It's a business unit of EveryMatrix. It's a completely separate company with a completely separate entity, but it's a business unit. We're under one umbrella. And as you mentioned, since EveryMatrix caters to larger operators, being the product that it is, then we have to match it. Otherwise, we just can't make it into the suit, which I think we do. We ourselves also cater to larger operators, sizable operators, and as you said, it's Chris this night. Well, no, this is turning into an advertisement. I don't like this.
Yeah. Well, how about this, right? Like the idea is that like we want to give actionable advice to people, right? And you're within PartnerMatrix, which is, as you mentioned, like the affiliate side of things. So maybe you could talk to us a little bit about. I would like personally, I'd like to know a couple of things, and like to share with the audience is anything actionable that you can think of for someone that's looking at getting into this industry, either as an affiliate or as an employee and going to work for one of these companies, or someone that's like recently been hired. How can they have some actionable information or some techniques that they could bring to the office? Okay. And the last, really, like, tell me about your product itself, and like, what exactly do you specifically drive forward, for PartnerMatrix?
Well, yeah, PartnerMatrix is part of a bigger EveryMatrix suite, which, as a latest independent audit showed, is one of the two B2B platform providers that is capable of catering to tier one operators' needs, whichever this tier one would be. And as a business unit of such a company, PartnerMatrix cannot just be any less powerful of a tool as EveryMatrix is. So in terms of that, if someone, PartnerMatrix can cater to the needs of startups or a tier one operator. But if you're just starting out, I think it's simple enough for you to cater to your affiliates' needs, and every one of your affiliate understands what they're doing and where to find the information that they're looking for, and also easy enough for you and your affiliate managers to kind of track the performance and act accordingly. So I would say that's a huge advantage to look into, and that's just an interesting point in itself to look into if you're starting your affiliate program. What kind of affiliate system do I choose? Like the one that fits to my needs just now, or the one that fits my needs now, but it also will be fitting my needs when I get to a point where I have a lot of revenue and I am to work with larger affiliate names such as Better Collective, Patina Media, OddsScanner, those types of affiliates. Because when you're working with the larger scale affiliates, they tend to dictate whatever kind of affiliate system they want or what they want your affiliate program to have. Of course, it's a bit of a contradictory thing. If you're big enough, they will work with you if you even work with an Excel sheet. But do you really want that? That's the question. So it's important to start with the software that you won't really be needing to change in the future, because not many people realize this, but changing an affiliate platform is much harder than changing the overall player platforms, because you don't communicate to your players when you change your platform. They just log into a different place. That's log in with the same credentials into a different place, not much of a hassle. But when we're speaking about changing your affiliate platform, migrating into a new one, that can be a pain in the butt, in a sense that you have 200-300 affiliates. You have to speak to them personally to shift their accounts from one place to another, and you got to make sure they believe that there's going to be no data loss, which is critical. And they won't budge if there's a single bet or single casino bet lost. Lost and the data lost.
Yeah, that's actually super interesting, because when you think of like an iGaming platform overall, the affiliate integration is a component of it. Yet I never really considered it, but you're right. If you're doing a migration from one technology to another, the affiliate side is the one that's going to need the most human contact.
Yes.
I guess we're going to have to reach out and never considered that. Super interesting insight actually into, again, just like a further complexity in iGaming platform.
And one thing to add there, you don't really want your affiliates to start asking you questions over again, like how to do this or that action. What I'm trying to get to is you want your affiliates to already know this system or if they don't know the system, you want the system to be intuitive enough so that your affiliates don't really have to ask the questions. And I'm only saying this because affiliate managers are going to be busy enough, and if they get asked, they get bombarded with affiliates asking how do I get codes, how do I check how much commission I have, and those kind of stuff. Then this is just really turning into a mess that's hard to overcome.
Well, I imagine, like, I've seen the PartnerMatrix tool. It's been a couple of years now, but it was all super intuitive, which is, again, one of the things I was impressed about. And I imagine since I've looked at it, it's probably evolved even further. So I guess that's not a big hurdle for you guys to get over as far as onboarding people switching over.
Yeah, we have a lot of experience there, and we try to make it as seamless as possible. And this is not just about to promote our brand, but it's important to have this seamlessly to the transition of the users, transition of the data, to make everybody happy.
Yeah, I just didn't have this pre-prepared, but I actually thought of a fairly basic affiliate question, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts on it. I don't know how much this crosses over into like your day-to-day like information that you need. But like my understanding is approximately 80% of traffic, obviously it's going to vary from operator to operator, but across the industry, approximately 80% of traffic is coming from affiliates. So there's all different types of ways to bring players to your site. But as far as I know, this is still the big winner. And am I right on that? Is that number accurate?
You're absolutely right. 80%, maybe, I don't know. Depends. As I said, depends on the case. But one thing is clear, that gambling advertisements are being more and more regulated. I mean, even in a country that's not that well developed in terms of making decisions, which Armenia, I mean, they banned advertisements both online and offline. I mean, when you were in Armenia, I think it wasn't really that time when advertisements were banned. So you would see banners everywhere, gambling banners everywhere. Now you won't. So how do I get traffic then? How do I get people interested in me? Affiliates, because affiliates have their audience most of the time. Affiliates do their homework, they do their SEO. So yeah, you have more chances with affiliates than in any other channel. And at the end of the day, it's as simple as this. It's a performance marketing thing. You get what you pay for. So if you don't bring me revenue, I don't pay you. So that's as simple as it is.
I mean, makes sense, right?
If you put a banner, like how do you make sure that this banner is going to be making enough revenue? I mean, it is going to generate some revenue, but that there's a lot more moving elements in any other advertisement form as compared to affiliate marketing.
Oh, super interesting. All right. Wow, super interesting. All right. So another question I had is, like, with this podcast, like I said, we're trying to give people actionable information here. So like, say someone is either preparing for an interview with PartnerMatrix, or they've just got hired at PartnerMatrix and they want to get ahead. They want to have some information and seem like they know what they're doing as soon as possible. And I know I'm putting you a little bit on the spot here, but like, if there's a resource that you would point them to, or if there's a technique or something that, or even just like some blanket information that you want to toss out there, like, what do you think that person should do?
Well, I'm not much of a resource guy in terms of how to find resources online or read them. But a great resource would be just to go over a couple of affiliate websites and see how they work. When I was actually being hired in PartnerMatrix, there was a great video on YouTube on how affiliate marketing works. And that really got me a lot more forward than I was back in the days. But the best source of information is always, for me, the network that I built over the conferences, or I don't think we even met in the me and you, we met in the conference, but I think Milos and I met before online. So even that, just keep the connection, because then if you keep the connection, if you keep the network warm, then those can be your reliable source of information, right?
Dude, that's so critical, and like, I think that's important in most industries. But like, one of the reasons why I thought to even do this podcast is because when I came into iGaming a few years ago, I just couldn't find really good resources. I found a couple of courses that I could pay for, and I didn't get much more information that I learned on like my first couple of days, on the job. So I think like specifically in iGaming, having those human resources to be able to go to and ask these questions. At this time, it's kind of the only place to get that info.
It is. It is not even ChatGPT, as complex and developed as it is, and as much as I love it, it's not enough to get anything affiliate related, at least. As for the casinos and licenses, those are kind of rules that you can read. It's a bit boring. It's a bit too much reading to do, but if it's your job, you have to do that. Or unless you have a friend who you can just go and ask, because I'm a communicative person, but I would be kind of ashamed to go and ask you a lot of things if I knew I could read it somewhere. But when it relates to the affiliates, just definitely just go and build a network and ask the questions to this network, because I have a lot of affiliate friends, and those are my kind of source of information when it comes to how to do affiliate marketing and what to do and what not to do.
Dude, listen, it's such a key tip, and I was saying this in another conversation yesterday, where like especially in the digital age, that it just makes such a difference to show face. If you can press flesh, if you can actually see them in person, great. But as you said, even keeping that digital connection where you're online and you're messaging, and maybe even try and get on a video call once or twice. Like for me, the meeting a person one time for 10 minutes and having a coffee at one of these summits has led to like real relationships and friendships. Yep. They don't always turn into business, but the possibility is actually there. Whereas if I'm just reaching out to someone over LinkedIn and we have no human interaction, it might as well just be like I never contacted them in the first place.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And actually, if I think back, the people that I met in conferences and I became friends with, I never did direct business with any one of them. They introduced me to people, yeah. Yep. But yeah, that isn't that good enough. Like they introduce you to people, you do business with the people they introduce you, because it's all about a network, right? If you want to be friends with someone, don't have the expectation that you're going to do business and they're going to be making money for you directly right now, right then. Just keep the relationships warm, and the magic's going to happen someday.
Dude, 100%. And like, I think another thing that maybe I think you and I can both sort of uniquely speak to is like just keeping it real as well.
Yeah.
Like when we get to these conferences, like when I meet you, there's no BS. It's just like, hey man, what's up? Like, do you want to hang out? Do you not want to hang out? I got this meeting then and that, and like we just make it work. Like it's very human. There's no roboticism to it. It's not corporate. It's just like two people that are connecting. And like I honestly see you as like the best person I've seen at these conferences for that, because I'm just one of probably 100 guys like me that are showing up at these conferences to tap you for whatever it is, some information or some tickets or even just like to sit down and have a drink at one of the awesome booths that you guys put up. In fact, dude, that's what I was gonna say. That's what we're talking about. Is like you guys always put out an awesome booth.
Thank you. I think it's minimalistic. I like the designs. I like to keep it simple. But in the affiliate world, I figure you have to be flashy. But on the other hand, being flashy wouldn't really fit into the overall, professional EveryMatrix image that EveryMatrix is trying to put out in the conferences. So just to have a booth itself, comes, a modest but yet professional booth, I think does the magic.
I think
unless you want to spend millions, which doesn't make sense. If in our case, sorry, if you're an operator that wants to attract affiliates and they want to put their name on the market, yeah, it makes sense probably to have like a 3-story luxurious, I don't know, booth. But like if you're a software, it's not going to bring the return on investment is not going to be that big. Speaking of which, in Brazil, a couple of years ago in Sigma, I saw a stand that had only women, only models, all over the stand, and there was no one in this particular stand that was from the company itself. Everybody was just a hired model and a flashy one. So you imagine it's not like they're very tasteful ones,
right?
And it's funny. I'm like, what kind of name are these operators trying to? I still to this day I don't understand what the meaning of that was. Like, do you want to attract affiliates? I don't know, because the way they were working is just these girls lined up from one end of the booth to another, and they would just collect business cards. Like, what are you going to do with these business cards? Like, I don't know, if you don't make this, if I just give you my business card without telling who I am, without us having this personal connection, then what are we going to do after the conference? I'm just going to be one of those guys that is going to follow up and you're going to ignore it because you don't remember who I am and you don't know who I am. Like, why would you talk to me?
Yeah, I think we all have that at the end of a conference. You go through like wherever you keep all the cards that you've collected at the end of it, and maybe there's a couple of them there that are going to be actionable. So it's just part of the game. But in fact, like Milos, who was just on with us, he's actually quite good about hanging on to those cards and documenting them, and then reaching out to these people and keeping the contacts fresh as well. So it's also a good technique, I think, for the networking that we were talking about. Is don't ignore anybody really if you can help it.
I'd say another thing in this business card thing. Now a lot of people turn into digital, which is good and bad. But if you meet someone who you have to exchange business cards with, just have a notebook and a pen with you. So first of all, the notebook, you can just write the notes on who this guy was and what you talked, so that you can reconnect with this particular thought. Second of all, you can write something on your business card right there before handing it to the person, which adds this additional personal touch to the business card, like we spoke about this, or the Armenian guy, or the cognac guy, whatever. Just something that will make you remember, will make them remember you. Like, for example, we met a guy a couple of years ago in a conference, and we had a very long and interesting discussion about history. And boom, there it was. Like, I just followed up with, hey, this is the guy that we chatted history about for like an hour. Hey, and then there's no way this lead is gonna be lost. It's just a warm lead. This is what I would call a warm lead, because this is definitely gonna be at least looking into my product and giving me a chance to pitch. So yeah, my actionable advice would be just carry a notebook and a pen with you. And if it's a possibility, just message them right then and make sure they message you back so they have a chat going on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. If I had a notebook here, I would write it down. I'm going to take that technique. I think that's actually really clever. Like I used
you
to.
You can ask me anytime.
And what wouldn't hurt either is having some of that beautiful Armenian cognac that you guys usually have pretty close by. It's a nice way to close a deal.
Yes, it is. We actually did close a couple of deals just having an endless bottles of Armenian cognac by our stand. That's something we shine in, actually.
Yeah, man. Last time I saw you guys, I got sent back with a nice bottle. I was very popular when I got back here, let me tell you.
Yeah, it is good. Another advertisement of Armenian cognac. Or Yerevan, you can just go and try Armenian cognac.
Yeah,
There's a lot of Armenian drinks that you can try. The wine is really good. We have gin that's interesting. You can go ahead and try it. Vodka is not bad.
Okay. Didn't realize all that was produced locally. Interesting.
We do.
All right. Well, another trip to Yerevan. I think they're going to start doing direct flights from Tivat soon. So we might
they will
see if we can make a trip over there, because as there's a little bit maybe just for me and Artyom, but traveling in and out of Montenegro and in and out of Armenia is not usually the most straightforward of trips.
Yes.
So it'll be very nice. Anything that's direct is a real dream come true. So I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, if it's a direct flight, it's a no-brainer. But low-cost airlines typically do that. They open direct flights for a while. But yeah, that's the only challenge to get to Armenia. I mean, for people who live in the Central European parts, they are not really used to traveling with connections. So yeah, that's what really, like, we do sales week every quarter basically, and we want to do one in Armenia, but our staff is really not happy with it just because they have to take a layover flight, a flight with layover. They're used to flying direct, and they're used to flying like 2 hours. But when you go to Armenia, then you got to take a 2+3 or 3+3, 3+4, something like that.
Well, I mean, listen, I grew up in Canada, and I'm used to that as well. Pretty much every flight goes into like Toronto, and then you use that to get out. So depending on where you are, you might be taking a 3 or 4 hour flight just to actually get on the plane to the destination that you're actually headed to. So I feel you.
And God forbid if you had a business to fly to Europe with, then it's a 3+10 or 3+15.
Yeah, but you know what? We suffer for the beauty sometimes, right? Like, there's advantages to being in these wonderful countries.
Yes, of course. I mean, you never really should look into what the flight is going to be like unless, of course, it's an unreasonable one, but where you're going to end up. Like for us to go to Brazil, it was 3 + 16, but we were willing to do this just because of how wonderful of a country Brazil is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to it. It's high on my list. I've never actually made it there, but I think one of these Rio summits, I'll make it over.
You should.
Yeah, I just missed it. I think it was last week or the week before that they had one out there.
Yeah, the SPC.
Yeah, right.
In Rio, yeah. You got to be careful there, but I mean, it's worth it. It's worth the risk. Now, Cape Town, the views, everything, the food, they say it's marvelous. So I'm hoping the danger I'm going to go through is worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're actually kind of talking about a cool part of your job, which, again, if people are looking at this industry, they might not be as aware. Like, we keep mentioning that there's all these different summits. And if you have the right job and you like travel, then you will be sent around to a lot of cool destinations in the world. Like, we just mentioned Rio. You're in Malta where they have conferences. Like, what are, Cape Town? What are some other cool places that your job has taken you over the years?
I'm a bit boring guy when it comes to traveling because I don't like going sightseeing more than I enjoy just relaxing. But first of all, before I even talk about what places it took me, you got to do your job when you go to conferences so that you're sent to conferences often. So you got to understand that traveling and seeing the world is just a part of it. It's just the perk that comes with the job. But then the conference is exhausting enough that it's not just the nice part. Yeah, there's an exhausting component to it. So that being said, where my job took me, the places that I love is, first of all, Singapore. I would never go to Singapore on my own. I would never make the trip. It's too far, and it's too small of a country to go to. But I'm really glad my company sent me to Singapore, and I saw a country that's probably 10 steps ahead of the whole world. So yeah, that's what really stuck to me. Other than that, personal favorites: Amsterdam, and Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is a marvelous city, as dangerous as it is. If you just exercise common sense and you take a couple of precaution measures, you're really good to go. It's not that much of an architecture type of thing to go see, but the vibe of the city, the parties, the Brazilian food, everything just adds up together to a really nice trip.
All right, sold. Well, I think I'm going to be looking at these upcoming summits then, because usually I stick to the European ones. I have not gone more than like a 4-hour flight to get to a summit, but I'm up for it. I'm up to go.
It should be. And unfortunately, though, the places where the summits are, so the summit may be in a great location, but the summit itself may be really bad. Like the one I went to Singapore, I don't want to tell which one it was, but it really sucked. It was a 3-day summit, and after the day 2, everything was just empty. Starting from day 2, actually, not after. Everything was empty, and it was an unproductive summit, to say the least. But I'm glad I enjoyed Singapore, and I'm glad I stayed there. It's a state-of-the-art country.
Yeah, dude, honestly, like I hadn't planned on going this deep into summits with you, but I'm realizing, because you really are, like I said, like the best person at these things. The next time that you come back on, I think we might just have a deep dive specifically on summits, because I'm finding this actually super interesting and actionable for me as well, which is kind of what I was hoping what I would get out of this podcast. So that's great. Okay, so listen, we've got a few more minutes. I know you've got a hard stop soon. But I did want to get just one more question in about PartnerMatrix, and I guess from the operator side, is there any advice there or anything you want to throw out about what they should be looking for or best ways to engage? Let's say I'm an operator and I'm evaluating affiliate platforms. What should stand out to me? What should I be looking for specifically? Specific features, does the real-time data,
okay, I can do that. I can do that. The tricky part here is that a lot of the features that you see on paper, you may not really understand what they do, or may not really need at the moment. But just to set out a couple of features that you might want to look into, because that's where the industry is going towards, is to have an intelligence component in the system, because every system can tell that this is your statistics, but not a lot of systems can tell you that, hey, this is why you have your numbers are dropping. And also fraud's been up for a long time, and there's not really a serious solution to that unless you get like a third-party solution, which typically then you have to integrate it to the affiliate system, and that in itself becomes a hassle. So looking into an affiliate system that has a fraud management tool built inside, it would be a huge advantage to have. So because that's where the industry is going. It's getting complex, it's getting better. And to summarize this, you got to be looking into a platform that's scalable, that's not just sitting in one place over the course of 5 to 10 years, but one that's ready to evolve. Because one thing that's really tricky about affiliate system, and probably every system for that matter, they're built in a monolith architecture. If you touch one single code, you're just screwing up everything. So you gotta make sure that your system is scalable and capable enough to evolve, and you won't be in a situation that your affiliate system will say, hey, you know what, we're gonna have a downtime for 2-3 days. So just bear with this.
Right. And in fact, you also touched on something I looked up earlier I know with PartnerMatrix, you have like your own proprietary intelligence system. I think you called it Partner Intelligence, or is that
PartnerMatrix Intelligence? Yeah.
And is that something that's proprietary just to your system, or is that something that you also license out or sell to other platforms?
The PartnerMatrix Intelligence is a completely separate tool. It has integration about 20-30% into PartnerMatrix. So without actually having to get the full tool itself, you can have some of its functionalities in the system as well. So this kind of answers the question if it's proprietary or not. So it's not proprietary, but part of the features are available in PartnerMatrix affiliate system as standard without actually having to purchase the whole separate intelligence tool. The intelligence tool is out there regardless of what affiliate system you're using. You can just it's a subscription-based thing. You can just subscribe to it, and there's no integration needed, and enjoy the information that it gives you. And actually, a funny thing is that there's not really many operators that do this, but when you use an intelligence tool before negotiating with your affiliate, imagine what the edge would be. Imagine if we're sitting down to discuss a deal, and I know everything you do. I know every deep and dark secret you have. Like, how much of an edge do you think I would have over you?
It's insane. Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. And I actually obviously you guys are ahead in a lot of things, but it's got to be pretty sweet, I guess, because it feels like a lot of platforms, not specifically on the affiliate side, but just on the risk management side in general, are promoting these tools are coming. There's going to be some type of intelligence in there, and maybe there's currently some level of machine learning, but I don't know of a proper one that's really out there and launched right now, where companies are promoting that as their USP and saying, hey, we've got your system monitored now.
Well, competition is going to be tough always, and to this day we have competitors, and we have nice ones, and we have people that we believe that are building affiliate systems and intelligence tools, and we believe in their capabilities. It only makes us alert, so we don't really relax and enjoy what we have, but we just build, we evolve, we make a better system every day. So that's just the answer to your question. That's it's hard to do something that's not copied in the industry, right? Because everything you do, and then boom, pops up another company that does it cheaper, for example. Then you have to evolve, and it's an unending streak of just making your product better and better, which is always good for the user and always good for the company, because you make sure you have work to do.
No, I mean it is very, very impressive, at least from the outside looking in, at the way that EveryMatrix seems to approach their style of business and how they're scaling. So certainly, something to look up to, and it's we might be a a couple of quarters away from maybe achieving the same status, but it's a nice North Star to look at and see, where Zebra Solutions or even any other smaller company that's looking to grow, what sort of tidbits we can steal from the big boys.
Yeah. It's always nice. We don't mind that. It's always nice to just be the one that you can take a good example from. Not the one that say, "Oh, okay, let's learn from their mistakes," but no, let's learn from their successes.
Yeah, it's super impressive, man. I love it. All right, well, we got a couple minutes. So, what's up with you? When am I going to see you next? Where are we going to
be? Africa next week. After that, I think I would want it to be in London because I want to kind of take a bit of a time with my family. Yeah, I settled in Malta. I'm really happy here, and I just want to be with my family for a while and not to have to travel that much anymore. But of course, I mean, London, July, definitely going to be there. Oh, and iGaming Club Malaga in May. Now that I mentioned it, I forgot about it. Yeah, it's also another big one that I'm going to be in.
Which one's that? Sorry.
iGaming Club Malaga.
Oh, Malaga.
The one organized by Papa guys.
Right. Okay.
It was really good last year, and I'm sure they've even improved this year. So expectations are really high. Like it's just a hub for operators and affiliates to meet. And then if you squeeze in 20-30% B2Bs like us, it makes a great conference.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I lived in London for a long time, so I'm always happy for an excuse to go back there. So I definitely won't be missing any London summit. So at the latest, I'll catch you there. But hopefully you'll be rolling through Montenegro.
I will definitely come because I think the shortest I can come is for like 4 days. I am willing to take a 6-hour drive. Like if it's a bus, even I can sleep on the bus and come just for 1 day or 2 days in Montenegro and enjoy it and go back.
Perfect. Man.
I may even come with my family or invite some friends from Armenia to Montenegro because it's visa free for half of the year for Armenians.
Well, dude, you let us know, and me and the Zebra crew will take care of it. You'll be sorted. Sure.
Lots of love, lots of kisses. Hope this justified your expectations. If no, we can reshoot it.
No, this is killer, man.
I don't know.
I'm leaving it all in.
All right. Thank you, man.
I do appreciate you making the time, man. It's really cool. And
man, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Anything for you. And even if this does nothing good for me, it's just for your own brand or your own podcast. How to say that? It's for the good of your own podcast. I'm still happy for it. As I said, man, I love you guys.
Bro, it noted, won't be forgotten, and looking forward to paying back the favor.
Fantastic. All
right, brother.
Have a good one, man. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Cheers, Artyom.
Cheers.
Bye.